Finally, we are here today. We're so happy to be with you. It is God who is at work within you, giving you the will and the power to achieve His purpose. So happy to be here, greeting you from my kitchen pulpit. It's such a blessing after going through what I've been going through, but the Lord is touching me, and I'm so much better, and I'm thankful for that. My husband is not here to help me today. Just as so you will know, last week or maybe 2 weeks, I was not able to even knead the bread, just kind of flop it around. But after we were off the program, my husband actually finished the kneading for me. So he has left today. He has a small engine repair, and he has gone after some mowers. So I'm doing this on my own. So let's hope I can do it right. I'm getting much stronger. But let's just now talk about Jesus and what is kneading bread for the Master all about. The older teach the younger. It's a high calling to be instructed to teach the younger. It is from Titus chapter 2. So we want to be good examples of believers in words and in deeds. The title of our message today is, You've Circled This Mountain Long Enough. And then the scripture goes on to say, head north. And the Lord spoke to me, saying, You have circled this mountain long enough. Now turn north. Deuteronomy chapter 2 and verse 3. Why do we even need bread? What is the sense in doing it? I mean, why do we do it? Because it blends all of the ingredients together, just binds them together. And it's so important they be bound together, so then they will actually rise much better, just be much faster, much better, and just be all bound together, and it'll rise evenly. And the thing of it is, when it rises, then we can make it into rolls, or whatever it is that we're wanting to make, whatever kind of bread it is we want to make. And as we make those, it's just really amazing how that then when they rise big and tall, instead of if they don't rise, means this bread wasn't alive. So let me check this out. Let me see if look at it, it's moving. That means it's alive. So thankful that this bread is alive. And so just like this bread, when it rises, I want it to rise double, and then I will punch it down and make it into rolls, and then we will have to let it rise again, and then we'll put it into the oven at 350 degrees. Oh, in about 30 minutes, we're going to have wonderful, wonderful rolls that we're going to love. Or I do. My husband and I love them, and we have many people that do. So now let's get on into our lesson now that we've talked about this. We will be able to rise to every occasion if we allow the Lord to knead us, K-N-E-A-D, and then He has to punch us down. He has to let us rise double, and He may have to punch us down again, and He has a job for us. He'll make us what He wants us, what He needs us to be. So let's just be willing and ready to do that. All right, you've circled this mountain long enough. The Lord had made the scripture real to me years ago when a pastor that we had preached this message about you've circled this mountain, or you've compassed this, what the King James says, but what I have is in a different version. It says, you have circled this mountain long enough. Isn't that true? Sometimes we get into situations where it seems like we're just going in circles. Well, let's go back, let's talk about what we're really talking about here. Back in the book of Numbers, you can find how that there was a time when they were told it was about time that they could cross over into Canaan's land, the promised land. But there were some people that was fearful. Should they do it? They didn't know what it was like. And God had blessed them and administered to them, and the things that they had done, how the Lord had helped them, and when they'd come into all kinds of battles, and the Lord had actually gone before them, and fear had struck those people, and they didn't want the Israelites anywhere around. But God would go before them, and how that He would just perform mighty miracles even before they left Egypt. So He had showed Himself strong, and it was time now that they were going to be going over into the promised land. But some of the people were very nervous, and they said, no, we think we better check it out. We better send some spies out there. But Joshua and Caleb, they were some of the best leaders there, and they were saying, we can do this. It's fine. God's with us. He's going to help us. We don't need, we better go check it out. They have giants there. We better go check it out. So they came up with, Moses chose these 12 spies for the 12 tribes of Israel. And so here they went, and they came back with their report. I don't know how long they were gone, but after they came back, and it was amazing. You couldn't imagine the kind of fruit that they brought, and all of these wonderful things from this land, and it was just like the Lord had promised them it was going to be. It would be like a land flowing with milk and honey. It was wonderful. But the people, the ones that, when they came back, and they said, well, it was that way, they said, you know, it was really beautiful, but there was giants, and that's all they could talk about was the giants, but not Joshua and Caleb. Joshua and Caleb said, wait, listen. You know, God will help us. He'll give us victory. Look at all the things He's done through all of this time, how He's been with us and He's helped us. He will help us. God is there. But all those others, those 10 spies could think about was look at the giants. They said, why, we were just like grasshoppers in their sight. They were looking at just the natural. But Joshua and Caleb had their eyes on the Lord. And I believe their eyes were sparkling. They were shining. He said, God has got a plan for us. He's promised us. It's the promised land. It's been promised to us. It's ours. All we have to do is go in and take it. But you know, those fellas, the 10 that were opposed to it, they were the ones that swayed people. We better not go. It's too dangerous. We better not go. The Lord became very upset with them, very angry with them. And so what they decided, well, we'll just go on our own. We changed our minds because the Lord let them know He had had it with them. They had been rebellious for all of these years, and He had had it. He was done with them. They were not going to see the promised land. Oh, said, well, we've changed our mind. We'll want to go ahead and go. But the Lord had already given the ultimatum. You will not make it. Those of you who have rebelled will not make it. This whole generation will die, and the others will be able to go in. You will not see it. You have not believed. You have not trusted. And they had influenced so many people to not believe. Well, they decided to go up on their own. That didn't work out well. I mean, it was a massive defeat. A massive defeat. So here they had to turn, and they had to head out, and they were now wander in the wilderness for like 40 years. It was a horrible thing. Can you imagine Joshua and Caleb thinking, but they were faithful. They believed God, and they were doing their best to strengthen the resolve of those that were fearful and let them know God is able. God is faithful. He will help us. All we have to do is just look to the Lord. He'll give us the victory. But no, you had these others that wouldn't believe. So sad that to say, I think, how awful that Joshua and Caleb, who were so faithful, they were going to have to wander along with the others that did not believe. They believed. Why would they have to be like this, be wandering along with that bunch? That seems so unfair. But you know, God was watching them. He knew exactly what they had done, their faithfulness to Him. He was not going to let them down. Victory was going to turn to them. Well, it came time after all this wandering around in the wilderness. It was an awful thing, but they kept the faith because they said it's going to happen. The Lord had promised when this generation is gone, and said the 2 people that were faithful, these leaders, those spies that came back, Joshua and Caleb, they are going to see the promised land. And here it came. It finally came as the Lord had spoken, and He had said, you have compassed this mountain, or you've circled this mountain long enough. Now it's time to head north. You know what? It was just not going to be that much longer as the history was being recorded here in Deuteronomy. And this comes to the time we see that here there was not that far. It was they were going to head out to the promised land. They were going to be there. The 40 years was almost up. But you know, those people that weren't faithful, they knew when they headed, when the Lord said, you've compassed this mountain, you've circled this mountain long enough, it's time to head on. You're going to head out. Now, this mountain, it was actually a mountain range, but there they wandered around in that because of their disobedience. But not Joshua and Caleb. They had been obedient, and God had marked them. He knew of their faithfulness. God always rewards faith. And so here it was Joshua and Caleb. They didn't give up, give in, or give out. In due season they would reap, and when they did make it to the promised land, what a glorious, glorious time it was. They rejoiced, and they began to pass out the land, the land that you've been faithful, so you can choose you a place to live. And when Joshua said, listen, as Caleb came up, and he said, you know I was faithful. You know I held fast to the Lord. And he said, give me this mountain. He didn't just say any mountain. it's just any place. He said, this is where, give me that mountain right there. You know what it was? It was what they call the biggest and the baddest of them all. That's the one that he wanted. He knew that God was able to help him. He said, you know, look at this. He said, God has kept my strength up. He said, I am ready to go. He said, I know God can help us. I know I'll win the victory because God is with me. He said, God has just kept my strength so up. And he said, I can do this. I can do this with God's help. And he wanted the people to see that God was able to help them against these mighty giants. He wasn't looking at the giants. He was looking at God, who was faithful and true and just going to get the job done. I think it's so wise that we follow that example. We have two examples. We have the spies that actually weakened the resolve of the people, and then we have Joshua and Caleb that tried to strengthen their will and their resolve to say, we can do it. Just remember, and I believe they began to recount all of the victories when the Lord had helped them in the battles and Jericho and how the walls had fallen down. Just wonderful miracles that God had done. They wanted to encourage them that we can trust God. He is faithful. He is true. Well, that generation had died, and you know, when Joshua and Caleb, when they had gone in, they were the ones that could reap a victory and a joy and a gladness, fill their hearts and fill their life because they had been faithful. God may have given you a promise. It may look impossible, but hold on and be faithful to God, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. You may feel like that you're just circling around. All you're doing is just circling a mountain. You're just going the same area, here, here, here. It's like no end. You feel like nothing is happening, but God is doing something. He is up to something good in your life when He's given you a task to do, and you have to wait for the time to do it. There'll come a day when He will speak to you and say, you have circled this mountain long enough. You've been faithful. You've circled this mountain long enough. Now head north. And up you go. You head north. It's so good to be in the arms of the Lord and to obey Him. So be not weary in well-doing, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. God is faithful. You've circled this mountain long enough. Now head north. That's going to be a great day when you hear those words from the Lord or something similar. May God bless you and keep you. And I can see that my kneading is getting better. I'm much stronger than I was. I thank you for your prayers. This has been quite a trial of my faith, and I've been through a lot of things physically. The Lord is definitely blessing and helping me, and I just thank Him so much. I think of what Joseph said, and the Lord hath made me forget. I thought, as terrible as some of this has been through, that I've had to experience after this accident, I thought, I'll never forget this. I can almost say He had made me forget. It doesn't seem fearful anymore. Thank God that He is with us at all times. Please continue to pray for me. I definitely need healing, continued healing. The Lord is definitely, I saw a change the other day. It was just like I said that day. In fact, I recorded the date. I don't remember what it was now. But it was like, I said, the sun broke through. It's like the sun broke through. And I began to rejoice. And in fact, at Aragon Chiropractic and Decompression Clinic, where I go for my chiropractic treatments, in fact, one of the doctors had commented as I went to leave. He said, it's amazing what's happened in the last 2 weeks with you. He said, it's amazing. So I'm thankful that it's being noticed not only by my doctor, but also the other doctor there. So I'm grateful for your prayers, and we'll keep praying for you and believing God to bless you and to help you. If you do have needs, you might put them in comments below, because we want to pray for you too. We love you. We'll see you next week, the Lord willing.